Saturn, SHIRO.
How's it going, guys? Welcome to the SHIRO Breakfast Cast.
It's the Breakfast Cast
Club. Breakfast Club, yeah.
Don't you forget
We're going to be eating breakfast. Nick just copyrighted a YouTube channel, so thank you, Nick.
No, you're welcome.
Kicked
You're
out of
welcome.
SHIRO forever.
Appreciate it.
YouTube will definitely recognize my bad singing as a match for that song.
Yeah,
It's
I've seen
about-
it.
What is it, like 8:30 on Sunday morning?
It's like 9
Oh, it's 9 on Sunday morning.
Pacific, yeah.
I thought it was y'all.
Our boy Nick has to get back to the airport, but we're doing this little summary, I guess, roundup of what happened yesterday. After
And
the show.
boy, was it a day.
Yeah, boy, was it a day.
It was great. We had our panel. That was, I mean, we first got things set up. It took some doing to get our booth going. And then basically went straight from there. Dave and I actually went and saw Tim Kitzrow's panel.
Right.
Tim Kitzrow, the announcer for NBA Jam.
Boom! Shakalaka.
He's on fire from downtown.
And Nick told him to pull out his...
I asked
He's
him.
like, I actually did a documentary on this thing, so I should get free stuff from you.
He was like, whoa, hold on, buddy.
I asked him if he whips out one-liners, and he cut me off when I said whip out. And he was like, whoa, hold it.
You're gonna get me
I gotta talk to my lawyer.
He's a really nice dude. That dude seems like he got younger from when his original promo things.
Because he's like in his 60s, but he looks like amazing.
He looks like
for
he's
60.
like in his early 40s.
I know. Like, I assumed he was in his 50s just because of the timeline of events, and I thought he looked good for 50, but damn, no, he's like,
Yeah,
I hope I'm that good when I'm 60.
he's really taking good care of himself.
Yeah, no kidding. Then we got our panel going, and we were a little nervous about our panel because right next door in the adjacent auditorium, the Angry Video Game Nerd was having his panel. And
Never
so we
heard of
thought...
him.
And his was completely packed.
His was packed, so we thought there's not a chance in hell that we'd have any audience in ours. But we knew there were at least a few people who said they'd come to our panel and would show up and watch, and we were like, okay, all right, yeah, that's cool. And pleasantly surprised to see, I would say like around 50 or so folks showed up.
Yeah,
Probably more than that.
probably more than that.
Yeah, I think we had about half the
It was like
auditorium
half the
filled
room
up.
filled.
It was
yeah.
amazing, yeah.
And we made them all sit up front with us. 'Cause, let's just pack it out in the front.
And this is a nice, personal, cozy little, it's like you go to a small concert venue, it's kind of like that.
The thing is
sort
that
of vibe.
people that come to like a Saturn presentation, they come for information. Like,
Right,
They're
exactly.
serious. They really are serious about it. You could tell that everybody was like really excited about a lot of the translations and homebrew stuff that was on.
And they asked a lot of good questions too. You asked a lot of good questions.
Seven
Very
Shades.
friendly.
Yeah, Seven Shades was in the audience, like right there.
That's right, the creator QCat
Yeah, we hope
was right there joining us, right up front, and everybody got to give a big clap, round of applause, and we were like, and by the way, he's right here, Seven Shades,
Yeah.
They all
Kay was also there
like
too.
that.
Which
Yeah,
I thought
that's
was
right.
cool.
Yep, Kay was there.
Gave him some shouts out.
Otherwise known as a Murdered Crows.
Yeah.
Gave him some shout outs because we showed a couple of his patches.
We got to show off the Pluto, of course. Best traveled console in the world.
The console that's more well traveled than its owner's
I
girlfriend.
think that console's more well traveled than your average like Nintendo.
I think it's more well traveled than anybody.
Yeah.
Like most people
Yes.
haven't seen as
Besides
much of
Adam.
the world as the Sega Pluto.
So we set up the Pluto as like the homebrew station.
We had it running, yeah.
And Seven Shades. So here's a funny thing. So Seven Shades got to play his new build on the Pluto. Audi Sorley got to play Cube Cat in front of Seven Shades. Like that was kind of cool.
on
That
the
was a
Pluto,
moment for
yeah.
him.
There was just like a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Funny story, Pat and I, like the night before when we were checking in and getting set up, we kind of got roped into like a Guinness World Record thing with like
Yeah.
the largest NES.
Friday night, you guys got to talk about that. This was the G4 large.
Well, yeah,
NES
like
pad.
Lorge pad.
what was it, Pat? Like Adam just kind of roped you into it, right?
He was like, hey, you guys want to try this attempt and help out? I was like, yeah, sure. I was like, all right, because he was by the controller. I guess he was getting ready to do it himself.
Right.
So I was just sitting there like, okay. I was sitting there waiting. And we were just like, Chris, we want to meet up because we need to get the info on the Pluto.
Right.
So I talked about this, hey, we're doing this record attempt. It's like, okay, why don't we just film a SHIRO show while we wait over here and we did the controller thing. We filmed each other. I didn't interview and I didn't mic it up, so there's no audio from it. So sorry about that, my dude.
That guy, you have to look on his face.
I wish Dave would not have said that out loud. I wish he would have said it afterwards because that guy, I felt embarrassed as hell.
Yeah, well, that's just me not being self-aware. I was like, Pat, did you have that on you?
It's a silent film.
Yeah, it's a silent film.
It's art. That's cool that you guys got to be a part of that. And you had to like sign paperwork with Guinness.
Yeah,
like,
well,
the world
then
record.
Well,
John
David.
Hancock, Adam Koralik, and I don't know, they pulled me up to get on the D-pad.
Yeah, and you just played through 1-1 in Super Mario Bros.
Yeah.
With it, right? Like the group of you on the
Yeah,
giant
I
pad.
didn't know what the requirement was. I guess they were just trying to beat that first level. They had to like beat the first level to
Like largest controller
No, they
used
just had
to
to
beat
play the first 5
1-1 or
minutes. It
something
didn't have
like
to be
that.
beaten.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so anyway, yeah, we beat World 1-1, and then they just had us fill out some paperwork to, I don't know, authenticate it.
Right. That's awesome.
Which was kind of crazy.
That's fucking awesome.
So it was really awesome. We just sat there and we just filmed a little bit more, and pretty much that was the SHIRO show last Friday. Just a short thing of doing that.
Right.
The panel will be up for folks to listen to. I guess they'll be uploading it to YouTube, and
PRGE
we'll be
uploads it
re-syndicating
themselves, right?
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
re-syndicate
that's
it to our
right.
channel. And
Yeah, we recorded on the tape again because
Oh, yeah.
it'd be funny. So
yeah, that's cool.
Just want to once again give a really, really big thank you to everybody who showed up to the panel. If you're listening, we just really appreciate you showing up. It was great. It was great to see anybody there, let alone the large amount of you. So, yeah, we were all very psyched about the audience, and I'm very happy to see that a lot of our viewers were there. A lot of people who we know, and some people who we haven't met, but perhaps you guys have watched us a lot.
there's a lot of panda love out there. I think there's a lot of the questions were just asking about you about panda shit.
I got a few questions. Yeah.
That was really awesome. Like there was so many people who were excited to see Nick, and he didn't get to come last year, so that was great.
There was someone dressed up in a panda outfit. I wish I could have found that person and been like, yo.
They went by the
nice
booth.
panda hoodie.
They went by the booth. I said that.
Oh, they really? Oh shit.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
They kind of was just more curt and just said hi.
Yeah,
Right
we saw G to the Next Level was in our panel.
Right, George, yeah, G
Ian,
showed
the
up.
historic nerd, was there.
Yep.
Reggie
Ian
was in there
Ferguson.
for a little bit.
Reggie.
Did you see it?
Oh, was it?
Wait, Ian was there?
Ian Ferguson, the historic nerd, was right there. He was like staring right at us.
Oh,
Ian
nice.
No,
That's pretty
you
cool.
said Ian Ferguson.
Oh, not Ian Ferguson. It's, sorry,
The historic nerd.
the historic nerd.
Yeah.
I was
okay.
like, Ian Ferguson was there? What the heck?
No, wait, isn't it Ian, the historic nerd?
It's Ian the historic nerd, but Ian Ferguson is
So-
Ian.
no,
not Ian
from
Ferguson.
So the point is, some guy named Ian was there.
There was a couple
There was
Ians.
at least one Ian present. But yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
hang on
I
a
love-
second.
Oh yeah,
My
Reggie.
DoorDash is here.
Okay, we're back.
We're
We
back.
got donuts now.
We got donuts.
Donuts for the podcast. Can we get a shouts out to donuts?
Shout out to apple fritters. My homies, please take an apple fritter. Grab an apple fritter.
I just want to grab all the other donuts that aren't that just to make you angry. Jeez.
Apple fritter for you.
This thing is
apple fritter.
huge.
This thing.
It's like a bear claw and crack.
Yeah.
That is a hell of a donut. Huh, I just got a text saying my order was dropped off. No, actually, it's right here.
It's not just any
Something's up
apple
inside.
fritter. It's like a caramel apple fritter or something. It's like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
So should we share all of what we're eating, fam?
We just ordered some voodoo donuts, and we're eating a continental breakfast from the hotel,
I got me some waffles.
featuring some coffee and waffles.
Yeah, I always eat waffles when I go to continental hotels. That's the meta. At least my meta, you have to get the waffles if they have it there. Because I don't have them otherwise because they load me up with calories.
This box doesn't want to close all the way. I don't know if I'm like doing it wrong or if it's just a weird box. Well, anyway, carrying that on the plane is going to be fun.
It'll be fun times ahead.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. I once carried a box of Krispy Kremes back from a trip because where I live, it's so far up north that they don't have Krispy Kremes. They tried it out. They tried opening one there eons ago, but it was unsuccessful and they had to shut it down.
Makes sense since Krispy Kremes are absolute dog crap.
Yeah, well, it's just like it's a
Sorry.
thing we don't have, and so we sometimes I bring him back when I go on trips. But this
Sorry,
time,
I go out of my way to be a Krispy Kreme hater.
I don't.
You can get
really
better
like
donuts.
or dislike them. I think they're fine.
They're fine. Just when you live somewhere that doesn't have a lot of stuff that other people have, you get jealous.
Oh yeah, sure.
I guess it's kind of like White Castle. When it was far away, I was jealous that everyone else had it. But when I had it, I realized it's okay.
So going back to PRGE, so anyway, middle of Saturday, Seven Shades comes by the booth, and we have him playing his newest build of Cube Cat on the Sega Pluto,
which is now going to be on my thing now. So I officially have that. So I'll be leaking that online when I get home. So have fun. Actually, did he upload that online? I don't know.
He's going to, but he hasn't yet. I think he's still tweaking the engine. We got to interview him while he was playing this build where he put in the Peach's Castle from Super Mario 64 into Cube Cat. The entirety of that opening area of Super Mario 64. Just running on BDP1 with BDP2 handling the infinite plane stuff in the sky and the water.
I was impressed at the water because it was reflecting the clouds moving in the sky.
Right. It was
so not only
well
was it true transparent, but it was also reflective. That was really cool.
We got a chance to interview Seven Shades while I was playing it, and we'll post the full interview, edited with some nice B-roll from Patricia over here onto the SHIRO channel at some point.
You really like your Christmas music.
And but yeah, he told us that he didn't really program before the year 2018. I think I remember correctly, somewhere around there, and he learned to program while making Cube Cat. And really took it step by step. He would start with, okay, here's how I'm going to get this character to move forward and backwards. Okay, let's try to get him to jump. And kind of building each element of the game one by one while basically learning how to code and doing it on a Saturn. And it's remarkable that this man's pulled that off because it's one of the best efforts in the entirety of the homebrew
scene. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, I know another group of people that didn't know any programming and made a Saturn game all from scratch.
Me too. That would be the Virtua Cop team. They had one guy leading the group who knew how to program, one or two guys who knew how to program, and the rest of them were either really, really new or hadn't programmed at all.
Yeah,
so they were good at art and other stuff, right?
And that's all that mattered. Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting, though.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of parallel between the indie and the actual developers,
Totally agreed. Yeah. We also got a chance to interview a couple of gentlemen from Retrobit. One about many of you guys are aware of the Saturn pad that they're making that has two thumbsticks on the bottom and two shoulder buttons on either side of the back. Basically a modern day controller that can play any modern day game, but it's a Saturn controller. And
nice.
There's been a lot of skepticism about this, and I want to hear your honest takes, gentlemen. We all had a chance to play Nights with this controller with our own two hands. Pat, starting with you, what were your thoughts on that controller?
I thought, to my honest thing, we pretty much tested it on Nights again using the same setup with the pound cables and the cable that always glitches out and has sync issues. So there's a lot of, I could say, hesitation with how I tested it. So there's some issues that I felt like it was, I guess, maybe the controls were kind of weird. I like the thumbstick feel, but I thought the gameplay played fine. The shoulder buttons, though, were kind of weird. It felt like you had to grip for forever. And I was kind of confused on what they were doing with the shoulder buttons, because there was two sets of shoulder buttons, but it didn't make any sense, because they said, the bottom ones aren't bound, and they were bound. And, the other ones were bound to a jump button, so I wasn't sure what exactly they were talking about. So there's a lot of confusion there, and I don't actually know how Knights plays as well, because I'm not an expert at it. They probably could know better than I can with all the button bindings, but it just felt like it just didn't make any sense, at least to me, how the buttons were set. So it just was kind of confusing, and the grip was kind of hard. If you hold it by the top two buttons, it has a weird grip feel to it.
Yeah,
the Exos on the bottom, because it feels like you're holding like a cup like that almost. I'm wrapping my fingers around the rim of a cup versus the bottom of it.
It's definitely a controller where you can't hold it the same way you hold a regular Saturn pad. I know, Dave, you were having some issues with the thumbstick and Knights. It just wasn't playing the same, right?
It wasn't really the thumbstick. It was actually the shoulder triggers.
Mm-hmm.
I very much see this controller as, like the Retrobit guys themselves, Rich and Andy, that we spoke to. They're like, I honestly think that most people are going to get this and they're going to love it, and they're not going to see anything wrong with it, right?
Right.
And I agree with that.
I think
because
that's
I think
right,
that
yeah.
most of those people are casuals,
Yeah.
or Switch players, or they dip their toe into Saturn and stuff like that, and they don't know what to look for.
Maybe
so-
they grew up with it or only played it a few times. And
For somebody who's like
yeah.
really anal, so somebody who's like really familiar with Saturn games and knows exactly how they're supposed to perform, especially if you play certain games competitively. Like, I don't know, Nick's really good at steep slope sliders. Is it going to perform? Is it going to allow you to do everything that you normally do in steep slope sliders? We don't know. We are going to get some advanced review units. That's kind of in the works, but I mean, it remains to be seen. The 3D control pad was made specifically for Nights into Dreams, so that seemed like the most logical game to test this controller out with its 3D analog compatibility. And one of the issues that I kept running into is that the left shoulder trigger that you can use for Knights to be able to do like stop on a dime kind of acrobatics.
It's like air brakes.
Where he puts on the air brakes and then just like zips around the coins. And he does that in order to maintain the link, because your link is timed, and if you don't go fast enough, you lose it, right?
Yeah.
Well, you need to be able to do a lot of like very precise acrobatics, which are second nature with the 3D control pad, Saturn's OEM 3D control pad.
The 3D control
But with
pad
this,
makes it
I literally was ham-fisted the entire time. I played like an idiot. I could not do any of the stuff that I can normally do with a 3D control pad.
See, I kind of felt the same way. I felt like maybe I just suck at Knights now or something like that. But no, it was different. I kept not doing the things that I'm normally able to do.
Right. Yeah. So like, again, I think the sticks are cool. I think that there are certain games that it's not going to be as much of an issue on.
Oh yeah,
and then
absolutely.
I think that there are games where I'm just never going to find something that is equivalent to a 3D control pad. Unless, of course, like the Bluetooth options that are coming up, that pair with a 3D control pad. But yeah, like I that's the thing I want fans to be cautious about. I want them to know that the controller build is really good. One thing I noticed is that previous Retrobit pads, they kind of like shake. The components kind of shake inside. They're a little bit loose.
Yeah.
This one is very tightly built. Like, it's very tightly packed. There's no sound at all. Like, did you notice how solid it was?
It was very well built.
It's very well built. So the build
more well built than their
Yeah.
usual Saturn pads for sure.
They feel better. The triggers feel better too. Like it doesn't feel like as hollow and non-responsive. It just feels like the clicky ones minus the click on it.
Right.
Build
Which I
quality
think I
feels
like.
great.
It does, absolutely.
Sticks feel good. They're all sensors now, so I will assume that they're going to last forever.
You can replace them easily
And you can
if
replace
they break.
them.
Yeah,
Ribbon
no
cable,
soldering required.
No soldering. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, bottom line, I think this is going to be great to play games on the Switch, like Sonic Mania. I could see myself playing.
Absolutely.
I could see myself playing a lot of stuff on the Switch with this, and probably will.
I just see it really good for pretty much the majority of Saturn games too. Like I don't think I have a problem playing
Dragon Force.
Right, yeah. If you're just using the D-pad, you're probably going to be fine. It's just the controller is going to feel different in your hands.
Yeah, that's the only issue. And then I really want to try it out with a racing game like Daytona or Sega
Same.
Rally, because we didn't get. And the thing is that I'd like to try it on a non-lag situation, like either a RetroTink or a CRT.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is preliminary. It could change. Like I might like it on other games, just not Nights, which is fine. I'll take 99.9% of the library over one game I don't usually play anyways. But that's just my use case. But for everyone else, that was a different story.
Like, I think I want to get it so that I can use it on the Switch or use it on other games in my PC.
And having that flexibility to be able to use it on your real Saturn too.
It's nice.
It is nice to have. But I don't want people to think that this is a controller that's really designed for the Saturn.
It's not a replacement. It's not going to replace your Saturn controllers.
No.
What instilled confidence in me was hearing the guy who play tested this controller a lot tell us that he apparently used it to win 4 Apex Legends matches.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny to think about. One thing that I was worried about initially when seeing it, just seeing pictures of it, is I was worried about those thumbsticks being too close to each other. I was worried my thumbs are going to ram into each other, but I don't think they're spaced too close together. I think they're small enough and far apart enough to where even if you've got large hands, unless you're really aggressive with the thumbsticks and they slip off all the time, you're probably going to be fine.
Yeah.
If you're not like super abrasive with your thumbsticks when you play games, you'll be fine with that.
Yeah, my thing is I really wish they would have a support mode for, I know it said it might be coming, but it's a maybe for Virtual On and other twin stick shooters.
That'd be nice.
Because I think the utility, the bonus side of that is, even if it wasn't good for Knights, I would like something like that for twin stick games, like Gun Griffin or Virtual On, the new Bulk Slash game.
Absolutely, yeah,
I
for
think,
sure.
yeah, I think, or like maybe even try to do with a like the dual mission sticks, if they had something like that. But they just don't have anything about that, which I think is disappointing.
In terms of changing it, the macro to change it between digital and 3D analog, it's pretty simple. It's just you hold down start and B for like 5 seconds, and then it flips over. Like it gives you a little indicator light that it's in 3D mode. So that's not a big deal. I mean, I think there's a lot of positives about it, and I don't want to discourage people from getting it. I just want people to go in with realistic expectations,
One exciting thing that we got to see there that they revealed for the very first time, no one has seen it before yesterday, is a prototype for their new Dreamcast controller.
Oh, yeah.
They had it on display. This is a Dreamcast controller that's wireless, has 6 face buttons, a improved thumbstick, and a Saturn-like D-pad instead of the really awful blister factory that is the original Dreamcast.
Well, you didn't like the cross shape that just broke your fingers playing any fighting game ever?
Oh man, I mean, there's something fun about playing Shikigami no Shiro 2 and trying to 1cc it with a D-pad that's almost worse than the PlayStation's, but
it like rips up your finger.
yeah, it just like gets under the skin, like literally under the skin, But I mean, I'm willing to leave that world behind.
Yeah,
I'm willing to say goodbye to that. One issue with it, and it's still a work in progress, and they recognize this issue that I'm about to address, is that the mold of it is really uncomfortable, especially in the back.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
they are working to fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks a little weird in photos too, like on the back. But that's because we're so used to seeing that big bulge from the VMU.
Yeah, and speaking of which, it looks like that when you have the wireless adapter, it's only going to support one VMU as of now.
But it does have Rumble built in, if I remember correctly. The guy did address that in the interview.
Yeah,
I see.
But if you want to have 2 different memory cards in your controller, then you're not going to be able to do that with this.
Yeah. Or is it because it's taking up the other slot with the Rumble Pack ability?
They need space for like the battery and for the other components that make the controller what it is.
Okay, yeah, because I was curious if it was just and speaking of that, if it just like, it already took priority over Rumble, so it wouldn't detect the other VMU and it couldn't display that.
That I'm not sure if that's the issue. I really don't know. And I assume the Rumble would work in like other modern games if you were to play on your Switch or on your PC or something.
Yeah, because I was going to say I wouldn't mind having it be a little bit chunkier and having 2 different VMU ports.
Right. One of their wireless adapters that they're tinkering with for this Dreamcast controller is like a VMU slot-shaped wireless adapter that plugs into your Dreamcast, and you can put your VMU in it. It has a little kickstand to prop it up so you can see what the screen says depending on where you're putting it.
I assume it was like the 2.4 gigahertz adapters for the Saturn.
It's kind of like that, yeah. It's very similar from what I understand.
So I imagine they're planning to do another flavor of 2.4 and Bluetooth.
Yeah.
But I imagine the Bluetooth, of course, unless they built in a VMU, that'd be kind of cool.
It's still a work in progress. I pressed the guy for like, how much will it cost? When can we expect it to come out? And this is all very tentative. This might change, but he's expecting it to be priced like at around the same cost as their like other higher end controllers. A reasonable price, probably like $40-$50, or maybe lower, or maybe slightly higher than that. Somewhere in that range. You're not going to be paying like $80 or $90 for it. And it's probably going to come out sometime next year. They're targeting 2024 for the release for this Dreamcast controller that they're working on. And it should be compatible with modern platforms, the Switch, PC, and whatever other platforms they're able to make it work on.
Right. What if you can use it on Saturn with that 2.4 gigahertz controller?
Now that would be pretty slick.
Yeah. I mean,
That would be
if they just use the 3D controller shape but have that,
right,
and it has analog support for it, it'd be like, wow.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
That'd be the official analog.
And it's got the 6 face buttons. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they announced that. It's like you can also use it as a 3D control pad for
What
Saturn.
kind of stick would you say that it had? It wasn't the same as a.
It wasn't the same as a Switch. It was not the same as a Dreamcast.
It seemed like an Xbox, like Xbox One.
I would say that it was similar to an Xbox thumbstick, a modern day Xbox thumbstick. It's not that dotted, that dotted top dome thing that the other one had. It's like a proper, like modern day thumbstick.
Yeah,
it feels really nice. Like honestly, I think as much as I'm not a fan of Xbox, I think they probably have the best feeling thumb pads in the game.
We had a lot.
Even better than PlayStation.
Yeah, for sure. We had a lot of people swing by our booth. Sega Steve was gracious enough to let us share some space with his booth while he was selling some games. He had a large amount of Saturn games for sale and a bunch of other video games and VHSs and such. And we had a lot of people swing by to play the 2 Saturns that we had set up. And one of the families that came by, it was like a Japanese family, a mom, a dad, and a kid. And the 2 parents clearly grew up with the Saturn. They were like very, very pleasantly surprised to see the Sega Pluto. Like the wife pointed to the husband, like, "Look, that's a Sega Pluto!" Like she was stoked. She asked me if I could show her the Japanese games, and she picked Twinkle Star Sprites and played some Twinkle Star Sprites with her daughter.
Good taste.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and you could tell she grew up with the Saturn. She knows her shit because she kept trying to soft reset with ABC Start. And then the dad, we were talking to him, and he said that he's more of a Nintendo guy, whereas his wife is more of a Sega girl, so they get into fights about video games from time to time. But he grew up with the Saturn in high school and played a lot of Virtua Fighter 2. So naturally, we decided to challenge this very seasoned Virtua Fighter 2 expert to a few matches. His Kage absolutely floored my Sarah.
Yeah.
Dave took the controller and got a round off of him.
I got a round off,
but then he still
kept
got
the
2
ring
out of 3.
He kept pushing me out of the ring. You know?
He knew how to use the ring out to his advantage.
Yep.
Like that was his strat, which is a valid strat in Virtua Fighter. So
I thought that was fascinating, though, that he was able to do that. He knew his stuff, and he still had his moves. So.
Oh yeah, that muscle memory was still locked in pretty firm. So.
Yeah, this 40, 50-year-old man just completely dominated. I didn't even try. I was like...
With a Nintendo shirt on, it was like, huh.
Oh, you know...
Yeah, I didn't even try. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to win. You guys can have the W. I'm not going to try to challenge this dude.
You want to talk about what Sega Steve acquired on eBay for $200?
Oh, yeah. So Sega Steve acquired some documents.
Like a boardroom briefing folder, like full of like different media types.
And this was for the NVIDIA graphics card that Sega went in.
The NV1, yeah.
That's right.
Their first ever graphics chip, which was a quad-based graphics chip. You know, when they were all in on quads.
Yeah.
This was to be put on the Diamond Edge 3D card, which was basically a Saturn that would slot into your PC and have Saturn controllers and stuff. And so this boardroom briefing, it goes over a bunch of like, it has like the press briefing. It has like it has slides, like actual photo slides that they used like on the back of the box. It has a floppy disk. We want to try to get this thing archived in some form because it's so, you know, important to Sega's history and also to NVIDIA's history.
Right, yeah. So we're working to get that saved somewhere, and Steve is like down to help with making sure that this is saved and archived. So
that was such a cool
effort's
thing to see.
It was like 2 packets. One of them was like a thing of documents, like talking about it, and the other was like a printout of some PowerPoint presentation that they gave to like other execs and stuff. And there's a floppy disk that might be no longer working, unfortunately, because there's like a bend in the corner of it. But I think they'll try to see if they can recover some data from it, but that might not happen. Floppy disks are fickle. But yeah, that was really cool to see. That was fantastic. We had a lot of folks swing by our booth just to say hi to us, which was really neat.
A lot of guys we saw with him last year. A lot of guys that just know us online.
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy at him on Discord, and he called us a legend.
Nice.
And said specifically, he said SHIRO's probably the reason why the Saturn is where it is right now. And I'm like,
oh,
whoa,
shucks.
don't let me get it don't get it to my head now.
Pat's head is 3 times its size.
Yeah,
it's like,
we've
I'm
talked
good.
to a lot of great people, huh? Like we talked to Jeremy Parrish.
We talked. Oh, did you? You guys talked to
Pat
him?
and I, we said hi to Jeremy. He's a busy guy, but he's also very approachable.
Yeah,
we talked to Audi. Audi is like
we talked to Audi a bunch.
Salt of the earth.
We talked to Game Apologist, right? Nick from Game Apologist.
Game Apologist.
It's good
John
to see him.
Hancock.
The guy that made an 8-hour Bomberman video
just showed up randomly.
He showed up to try the Bomberman fight patch in progress that Malenko was working on, and he seemed to know a lot about Bomberman. He had a nice Bomberman jacket
he knew
on.
a little bit.
He knew a lot, and so I was like, oh, gee, I ought to recommend this 8-hour Bomberman video I saw to this guy. I think he'd get a real kick out of it. And then he tells me that he made this 8-hour Bomberman video. And I'm like, oh no, you're the guy. You're no way.
Yeah, his name is Lively Llama, by the way, at Riffexed on Twitter. So shouts out. This is probably not gonna be a video, so I can't show the image, but we'll probably talk about it on the SHIRO show next week for sure and recap it again. But still, very nice dude. He put a tweet, played some of the early patch for Saturn Bomberman Fight. They had it on the Patreon at Play Sega Saturn.
He was at our panel too. I'm pretty sure he showed up to that.
Yeah,
He's a really nice dude.
Yeah, very, very nice guy. So that was really cool to see, and fun to meet the guy behind that 8-hour Bomberman.
Did you want to talk about the person that me and you and I talked to?
Oh yeah, Pat and I briefly spoke with, and I mean briefly, but we both got a chance to speak with James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, at the auction dinner, and just real quick. So there were a lot of people who wanted to say hi to him, and I didn't want to hound him for more than a minute, right? So I just said hi, thanked him for his videos and for what he's done. And Pat talked about New Jersey.
Yeah, because I guess I'm not going to dox him, but he's from somewhere in New Jersey, and we were talking about that because he's like, oh, I'm flying to Philly. He's like, oh, wouldn't you be flying to Newark? Like, oh no, I'm south. I'm in closer to Philly than Newark. I was like, it's probably for the best. They did Newark, but it's still shitty. And we were talking about
just talking shit about Jersey.
Yeah, and I was telling him, oh yeah, I'm from Middletown. I was like, wait, what's Middletown? It's like
that's how you know he's from there, right?
Yeah, it's like Middletown up north and Middletown in the middle with the clown. The clown out liquor, and I was like, he knows where that is. Like, because basically, for those who don't know, in New Jersey, there's a giant clown in Middletown, New Jersey, that has alcohol and liquor on it. It's a famous sign. It's been there for years, and it's like a landmark there. He knew about it, and we were talking about that, and that was really funny that he knew about that.
Before we take off, I just want to talk about some of the neat items that were seen at that auction dinner. There was a Jaguar demo kiosk. And I sent pictures of that to my friend Pimpo, who people who watch my videos might remember that name. She's helped a lot with research. She's a big Jaguar fan. So I sent her pictures of this Jaguar kiosk, and she told me this morning that it sounds like that only 5 of those are known to exist in the modern collector's era.
I know one of them exists.
Yeah.
There's this one in Arizona. It's called Fallout Games. There's one at the store in Gilbert. Yeah.
Nice.
It's as shitty as it seems.
There was one over in the Video Game History Museum.
Oh, did they? Was it the same one, or was it different?
It wasn't the same one.
That's good. Okay.
So they had that one, which was part of the Video Game History Museum.
So we have 3 accounted for so far.
3 accounted for.
Yeah.
There was also a Virtual Boy demo kiosk and a few other light up signs for back when stores sold GameCube games. There's a GameCube sign.
There's this cool Mario statue from that
Golden
they sold
Mario
from this
statue.
Teleview, Fat Mario.
Yeah.
It went for $600, and I was so angry I wasn't gonna put a bid into it. I think it was like $500. I was gonna put $600 in and get that because I love the Teleview.
Yeah.
And the fact that it went to some guy that has another one of it. So.
He has
said
one.
He wasn't gonna bid on it too. He's like,
Some guy who already has one wanted it.
So yeah.
I think he was just trying to drive up the price.
I think he
and
might
then he
have
got
been.
nailed with it.
Yeah.
Because you said to his friend, he's like, I didn't need that.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I would have said that. I would have been like, hey, can I just give you $600 straight for it?
Oh, yeah?
I'll give him $100 more, and I would just take it home.
Well, if you see him today, maybe.
I'll look for him, actually. He's probably by the controller. I'll talk to him, be like, hey, I saw you won that.
He was hanging out with John Hancock, so if you see John Hancock,
We
just
seem to be
say, hey,
buddies.
where's your friend?
Yeah, because I will buy that off him because I love the Satellaview. I love Saturn, but the Satellaview is probably the coolest thing.
It's crazy that
All
came
time.
out in 96. That's what they said.
Yeah.
That those were distributed in 96, and that would have been well into the Saturn's
Right.
life.
Any
Yeah.
closing thoughts before we take off, guys?
I want to buy a Satellaview now.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun just
Yeah.
seeing Nick in person.
Oh, it's great to see you
seeing
both in
Pat
person
again,
for the first time.
hanging out. It's been a lot. We've kind of all lost our voice a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm so good. What
panel-
are you all talking about?
It's a lot of talking.
I went to the Retronauts panel. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah, that
And
was good.
Completely,
So you
completely
contact-
unnecessary podcast. That was awesome too. So yeah, looking forward to seeing some panels today and just talking to more people.
Yeah, hopefully we can see all the cool people there. If you're somehow listening to this in the future and have a time machine, come see us. If not, well,
Yeah, travel
so-
back. We'll be there. So.
We'll be there. Just be like, hey, I came from the future to shoot you, like Eminem.
Yeah. Well, you must play Sega Saturn. It's
You must.
required.
Yep.
You must
Hard requirement.
do it.
See ya.
See ya.